Hello, everyone. Today I want to talk to you about how to use your outline to properly develop your body paragraphs for the literary analysis essay. When I walked you through how to complete your outline, I talked about how if you complete that outline in the way that I ask you to do and use the sample and template to kind of guide you, then you're going to have over half of your body paragraphs written. And so today I want to show you kind of how that works, okay? So let me get it here. I have the outline pulled up right here, okay? So we're going to use this outline to build a body paragraph. So we're going to use this first part here and build one body paragraph. Obviously, everything in 2A, B, C will be used for the first body paragraph. Everything in 3A, B, C will be used for the second body paragraph. And everything in 4A, B, C will be used for the third body paragraph. So your sentence beside your Roman numeral can serve as your topic sentence. So I'm just going to pull that. I'm going to go ahead and go to the next page of this document to start my body paragraph. Okay. It copied over the Roman numeral, so I'm going to take that out. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and pull this first quote. Okay, take that out as well. Then I'm going to pull my B. And then I'm going to pull my C. Okay. I'm going to zoom in here. All right, so now we have a topic sentence. We have our outside source support, which is purple. We have our quote from the Nickel Boys, which is the red, black, yellow section. And we have one sentence for our blue section. So our first sentence of our body paragraph should be our topic sentence. That topic sentence should introduce the specific historical element or event you are going to discuss in that body paragraph. So right here, mine says, Elwood uses the record of Martin Luther King at Zion Hill to develop his view of his self-worth. Okay, so I'm going to leave that as is. Then you're going to move into whether it be your outside source support or it be the actual quote from the story, whatever your first outside source support quote section is, you should move into that. Okay, so I'm going to go here. And I have Dr. King stated in At Zion Hill, we must believe in our souls that we are somebody, that we are significant, that we are worthful, and we must walk the streets of life every day with this sense of dignity and this sense of somebodyness, okay? So from here, I'm going to add what is called my in other words section. So after you have a quote, you want to give some context about what that quote is actually saying or what is happening in that point of the book if you're doing the book quote, that's important to know. So here I'm going to say, we must believe in ourselves that we are somebody, that we are significant, that we are worthwhile, and we must walk the streets of life every day with this sense of dignity and this sense of somebodyness. Okay, so this is going to be my green section. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a green section and then I'm going to do a blue section here for this quote as well before I tie it in to what actually happens in the book. Okay, so I'm just going to make this blue. You don't have to have a blue section after each quote as long as everything flows well. So I'm going to make this all blue. What I usually do is I usually do my color coding for my brown, my purple, my green, my red, black, and yellow, and then my ending sentence, my orange. I usually do all that color coding first. And then, of course, whatever blue came from my outline. But then anything else that is left outside of those parts, I just make it all blue. So you don't have to think through that too much. You could have just left that the standard color. And then after you've color coded everything else, if you're like, hey, I got to color code this, then just make it blue if you have all your other components that you need. Okay, so Elwood uses the record of Martin Luther King at Zion Hill to develop his view of his self-worth. Dr. King stated at Zion Hill, we must believe in our souls that we are somebody, that we are significant, that we are worthful, and we must walk the streets of life every day with this sense of dignity and this sense of somebodyness. In other words, no matter what trials or insecurities a person may face, he or she should stand tall and be proud of the individual that he or she is. Dr. King served as a prominent figure during the civil rights movement. His passion and drive stood behind the ideals of equality and nonviolence, and he desired for all African Americans to experience true equality. Elwood heard his words and connected with them early on. He continuously repeated the words of King in order to remain focused. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and make this blue as well. All right, so now I'm going to shift to what actually happens in the book. In chapter 2 of the text, it states, and I'm going to change this because of the text may seem a little obscure, like which text, okay? So I'm going to edit that. Okay. In chapter 2 of the Nickel Boys, it states, there are people who trick you and deliver emptiness with a smile, while others rob you of your self-respect. You need to remember who you are. So, I'm going to say here, or I want to start differently. Within the book, Elwood experiences a betrayal by some of the dishwashers at his mother's work. Elwood was a bright young man, and he desired to mature his knowledge. Okay. A dishwasher at his mother's work found a set of encyclopedias. Elwood wanted these, so he competed against another boy for them. However, he soon realized they were fake and did not include much information. This experience portrayed to Elwood that not all individuals are honest and trustworthy. Therefore, he needed to beware of what others' true intentions are. Instead of allowing this event to make him feel silly or naive, that's not right. Oh, that worked. He allowed it to be a lesson in reality concerning how individuals will use others to advance their own work or desires. Okay, so here I'm going to go back and all the information that I have on here that's explaining what happened at this quote, I would make green. Okay, so this would all be green. And then I would leave the rest as blue. So this experience portrayed to Elwood that not all individuals are honest and trustworthy. Therefore, he needed to be aware of what others' true intentions are. Instead of allowing this event to make him feel silly or naive, he allowed it to be a lesson in reality concerning how individuals will use others to advance their own work or desires. Elwood could have allowed his view of himself to easily be affected by not only this experience, but also the stereotypes placed on Negro boys at the time. For example, Negro boys were not expected to be intellectual or highly intelligent. However, he chooses to continually use the inspiring words of Dr. King to shape his self-image instead of the way others treat him and the way others treat him and others' expectations of him. Okay, so then this last sentence, I'm going to change to my closing sentence. So you can see as I'm reading through that and I'm working through that I'm updating things to make it work, okay? Instead of the way, there we go. I'm continually changing things. I'm editing things in order to make it work, in order to make it make sense, okay? Now, I do want to point out to you guys that this is one sentence. This one sentence is, okay, never mind. It's 378 words. I thought there for a second it was 700 and something. I'm like, what? Okay, so I would probably need to condense this down a little bit if I'm trying to meet a 600 to 900 word requirement. I would want to go back and revise and edit this. But the main thing is I want you to see how you can use that outline, plug it in, and then expand on it to make your full body paragraph. Okay, so the requirements for your body paragraphs, you have a topic sentence that's introducing the historical element or event you're going to discuss. You're going to have outside source support, that is purple. That could be like, this is in the book, but if you have a primary source, you need to find the primary source. So I went and actually found this as an additional source. I'm not citing it from the book, okay? It also could be like an article on history.org or an article relating to history that you found on AVL. So you have options there. Okay, you're going to have your green sections that are going to kind of give information about what your quotes, outside source support, quote from the book, what are they saying? If it's a complicated quote, break it down and simplify it. If it's a quote from the book, tell what is happening in relation to that quote to help it make sense, okay? And then you're going to have a closing sentence that is orange, that's bringing everything together at the end of your sentence. And then all your additional commentary, your so what, your therefore, why does it matter, that's all blue. And like I said, when you're color coding the whole paragraph, I would do all the other steps, and then whatever's left, color code it blue, okay? So if you have any questions about how to do this appropriately, please just let me know. I will be happy to help you.